Well, for more on the government's child poverty strategy, I'm joined by Dev Sharma, a food poverty activist who at just 16 helped to persuade the government to ban junk food advertising through the Bite Back campaign. Thank you for joining us here in the studio. So just first of all, talk us through the challenges that young people living in poverty here in the UK face today.
Thank you for having me. My generation is the generation that lived through austerity. We're the children of austerity. We had crumbling schools, youth clubs that we saw destroyed in front of us. My friends went to school hungry. I felt their stomachs and heard them in the classroom. I remember the story of one time we were in the class, we were sitting at lunch, and it was in year 11 doing our GCSEs. And me and my friends all shared our packed lunch, used to put it onto the table, and my friends would pick up the food because some of them just didn't bring enough food because they didn't have enough money to be able to buy it. That's young people in Britain in the 21st century, in the 6th largest economy in the world. That's what we're going through in schools. And it's that stain lives with us for life.
And so what do you make of the government's new strategy? Do you think it goes far enough in terms of dealing with child poverty?
You know what, this is the most ambitious plan we've had in the last decade to tackle child poverty. But you could have asked any young person going through poverty, they would have told you this a year ago. This has been delayed year upon year, and I just don't get why we need so long to do stuff that young people have already been talking about or could tell you about. Actually, the biggest problem we have is action and delivery from government. And a lot of this just feels like warm words, and I don't know if it'll actually deliver into real action for young people. It's their lives at stake. I live in Leicester. In Leicester, between the wealthiest and the most disadvantaged young person, there's a 17 years age gap in life expectancy. 17 years in the 6th largest economy in the world. We just got to have them be stronger in action.
You focused a lot on food and young people's access to healthy food as well. Have you seen anything in this strategy that would help that?
There is mention of food, and they talk about the holiday, the HAF program. They talk about breakfast clubs for young kids, but really food is poverty is so intersectional, and food is a big part of that. Food, having a good, nutritious, healthy meal ensures a young person can grow up healthy, strong, can become a future leader of tomorrow, can actually survive in this new and changing economy. And there's nothing that talks about a healthy school meal, about school food standards, legal targets around food to make sure that these big food companies that flood our high streets with unhealthy food and directly target kids from disadvantaged backgrounds, that they're protected from those malicious companies that are targeting them with these cheap foods.
And what's been the impact from your Bite Back campaign in terms of legislation the government put in place?
So when I was 16, I ran a campaign to get the government to ban junk food advertising online. And we did this campaign where when someone signed the open letter, it automatically emailed the health secretary and the prime minister. We got their private email address and it bombarded their inbox. And what the government told us of the time was that it was young people speaking truth to power, sharing their lived experience, that really changed it for them. And it got the government to commit to banning junk food advertising for children online. We need that with child food poverty and with child poverty. Young people are living through the brunt of this, and actually more consultation with them on this entire process would yield incredible results, would future-proof this. Something a young person would say who looks at this policy, who looks at this government doing this, just feels like it just doesn't go far enough. Where are the legal targets? We have legal targets when it comes to the environment, but something the government could do to hold themselves to account is have legal targets to make sure that child poverty is reduced, even over future parliaments.
Dev Sharma, food activist here in the UK. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.